recently saying that Leighton and I were frenemies. And it's
frenemies. Is that the new term? Frenemies?
Yeah, we're friends, but we're also enemies. And it's really strange because they always want to pit women against each other. You don't hear about like Penn and Chase hating each other.
I think I'm just brunette because of the books.
And everyone knows blondes are nicer anyway.
The movie is going to affect people, and they're going to want to tell you about their life. So if someone understands the themes of this movie, comes across you in public, and they want to really talk to you, what's the best way for them to be able to talk to you about this? How would you recommend they go about it?
Like asking for like my address or my phone number or like my location share. Or I could just location share you.
Behind the dazzling smile and picture-perfect Instagram posts lies a darker truth that Hollywood insiders have whispered about for years. Blake Lively, the woman we've all come to know as the quintessential golden girl of Tinseltown, has reportedly built her entire career on a carefully constructed image that masks her true nature. While fans see the devoted wife to Ryan Reynolds and loving mother of four, her former co-stars tell a different story, one of sabotage, mean girl tactics, and ruthless ambition. The most shocking part? This pattern of behavior wasn't just a one-time occurrence, but a calculated strategy spanning her entire career, leaving a trail of damaged relationships and bitter resentments that are only now coming to light as more and more Hollywood insiders find the courage to speak up. Imagine arriving on your first big break, excited to meet your co-stars, only to discover everyone's already been poisoned against you. According to industry insiders, this nightmare scenario became Penn Badgley's reality when he stepped onto the Gossip Girl set. Sources claim Blake had methodically spread rumors about Penn before he even arrived, creating an icy atmosphere where cast members initially treated him like a pariah. It reportedly took a full week before the truth emerged, and the cast realized Penn wasn't the monster Blake had portrayed. But the damage didn't end there. Their relationship took another dramatic turn when they began dating despite the initial hostility, only for Blake to allegedly leverage her growing star power to eclipse Penn's career after their breakup. The mime, ultimate Hollywood betrayal? Many believe Blake used her connections to push Penn into the industry's shadows, while her own star continued to rise, a pattern that would become all too familiar in her relationships with co-stars. They played inseparable, best friends on screen, but behind the cameras, the temperature reportedly dropped below freezing.
We do have It Starts With Us, so I'm hoping to see you back in the double duty role.
I think there are better people for that one.
Justin.
I think Blake Lively's ready to direct. That's what I think.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Justin said he doesn't know if he'd be game to direct the next one, but perhaps Blake would. Is that something that you would entertain?
Oh, absolutely. I think that whoever decides to take charge of the next one would do it justice. But, you know, it's a lot of people to get the same schedules together again, so we'll see.
Oh, absolutely. She's so capable of that. She is a powerhouse. She could do literally...
The tension between Blake Lively and Leighton Meester on Gossip Girl became so notorious that executive producer Joshua Safran eventually confirmed to Vanity Fair what fans had suspected for years. These women were friendly, but not friends. What makes this particularly cringeworthy? Blake's apparent inability to read the room during interviews, making uncomfortable jokes about Leighton being born in a prison cell, a deeply personal detail that wasn't hers to casually throw around for laughs. The awkwardness is palpable in resurfaced interview clips where Blake dominates conversations with tone-deaf comments while Leighton visibly withdraws. According to those who worked on set, the tension grew so severe that other cast members felt forced to choose sides, creating a divided workplace that mirrored the show's fictional drama, but without the scripted resolutions. The evidence continued to mount when Armie Hammer dropped a bombshell during an interview with Andy Cohen that sent shockwaves through Hollywood's gossip channels. When asked about the biggest diva on the Gossip Girl set, Hammer's reaction spoke volumes, visibly uncomfortable, desperately trying to change the subject, before finally admitting he didn't complete all his scheduled episodes because it was such a tough film. The explosive moment came when Cohen directly asked whose love interest he played, and upon learning it was Blake's, the host immediately connected the dots while Hammer nervously avoided confirmation. "Get me out of this," Hammer reportedly told producers, but was it actually "get him out of here," as Cohen suggested? The telling silence and awkward laughter that followed revealed more than any direct answer could have, adding another name to the growing list of actors who allegedly found working with Blake to be an exercise in frustration and diplomatic restraint. What began as subtle shade escalated into a full-blown Hollywood Cold War. The set of A Simple Favor reportedly became ground zero for one of the industry's most uncomfortable rivalries, when Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick clashed so severely that, by the end of filming, they weren't speaking at all. The alleged catalyst? Comments Anna made about Blake's bestie Taylor Swift Swift that weren't even particularly negative. According to an insider who claimed to work for Lionsgate at the time, the situation grew so tense that studio executives were forced to intervene, specifically instructing both actresses to make it look like they liked each other during press tours. The awkwardness leaked into interviews where Anna would reportedly call Blake out on her tone-deaf comments in real time, creating cringeworthy moments that viewers couldn't miss. The rivalry reportedly turned competitive with Anna allegedly, requesting more promotion than Blake and even asking for cleavage enhancement in posters to match her co-star, a Hollywood feud that went beyond personal dislike into professional sabotage. In what could only be described as the ultimate power play, Blake allegedly delivered a devastating blow to dozens of careers with a single decision. After agreeing to film A Simple Favor 2, Blake reportedly refused to participate in any promotional activities, a death sentence for a movie that relies on its star power for marketing. Without explanation, she simply didn't feel like it, sources claim, effectively holding the entire production hostage. The consequences were immediate and severe. Despite glowing test screenings, Amazon reportedly shelved the film indefinitely, leaving the director, Anna Kendrick, crew members, and countless others who had poured their talent and time into the project without the payoff of seeing their work reach audiences. The financial implications were staggering, with everyone involved potentially losing significant income. Everyone except Blake, who could simply walk away to her next project. Only when the public narrative began turning against her did she reportedly agree to promote the film this year, but for many involved, the damage had already been done. History repeats itself in the most uncanny ways. The current tension between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni on It Ends With Us bears striking similarities to her past conflicts, right down to the familiar pattern of exclusion and power plays. From the very beginning of the press tour, keen-eyed, fans noticed the awkward body language and forced interactions, a tension that boiled over when Justin reportedly discovered, during a live interview, that Blake's husband, Ryan Reynolds, had secretly worked on the film's rooftop scene. The parallels to Penn Badgley's experience are impossible to ignore, with Justin similarly finding himself pushed to the periphery while Blake commanded center stage. The situation reportedly reached its climax at the movie's premiere when Justin and his team were relegated to the basement while Blake dominated the spotlight upstairs. With leaked text messages now circulating online, some speculate this wasn't just professional tension but perhaps something more personal. Did Blake develop feelings that weren't reciprocated, turning admiration into animosity? When the creator of your source material distances herself from your project, something has gone terribly wrong. In perhaps the most telling development, It Ends With Us author Colleen Hoover reportedly took a complete social media hiatus at the height of Blake's promotional tour, an unusual move for an author during their book's film adaptation release. When Hoover finally returned to her platforms, eagle-eyed fans noticed something striking. Every single reference to Blake Lively had been systematically erased. No tags, no mentions, no shared content. A digital scorched earth policy that spoke volumes without saying a word. The rumored breaking point? Blake allegedly hijacking Colleen's deeply personal story about domestic violence and sexual assault and making it about herself during press interviews. For an author who had poured her heart and personal experiences into creating a narrative that resonated with abuse survivors, watching it become Blake's vanity project was reportedly the final straw, creating a rift that may never be repaired, and raising serious questions about whether Blake understood the gravity of the material she was bringing to screen. How does someone leave such a trail of burned bridges yet continue to thrive in an industry built on relationships? The answer lies in a perfect storm of privilege, connections, and strategic alliances. Blake's marriage to Ryan Reynolds didn't just give her a picture-perfect family for Instagram. It provided her with one of Hollywood's most powerful defenders and deal-makers. Add to that her friendship with Taylor Swift, whose vast and fiercely loyal fan base creates a protective shield against criticism, and you have the perfect formula for career invincibility. Industry insiders claim this power network allowed Blake to operate with virtual immunity, controlling narratives and sidelining anyone who threatened her spotlight. But power structures eventually shift, and with mounting testimonies from former co-stars and the explosive legal battle with Justin Baldoni bringing receipts into public view, the protective bubble appears to be thinning. The question now isn't whether Blake has enemies, it's whether her carefully constructed empire can withstand the weight of so many consistent stories painting her as Hollywood's most ruthless operator. We're witnessing what could be the most dramatic fall from grace in recent Hollywood history. For years, Blake Lively cultivated an image as the relatable girl next door who doesn't even have a stylist and bakes cookies for her children, AE. Masterclass in celebrity brand building that earned her devotion from fans and lucrative partnerships with luxury brands. But as the testimonies pile up and the patterns become impossible to ignore, the facade is cracking in real time. Text messages, interview footage, and first-hand accounts from multiple sets spanning different years tell a consistent story that's becoming harder to dismiss as coincidence or misunderstanding. The most fascinating aspect of this unfolding drama isn't just the revelations themselves, but watching public opinion shift as people reconcile the Blake they thought they knew new, with the Blake her co-workers have apparently always known. In an era where authenticity is currency, the ultimate question becomes not whether Blake can continue booking roles, but whether audiences will ever look at her the same way again once they've glimpsed behind the carefully constructed curtain of Hollywood's Golden Girl.